Hey everybody. This is the ALCast. I'm Justin.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Allan, and our special guest is.
Jan, gute Nacht.
And this week, we're gonna play ASKHole. That's ASKHole. This is a game from Twitter user Ayla Girl. She's famous for posting herself nude with gnomes and also more recently polling difficult questions on Twitter.
Shout out to
Um,
Ayla Girl.
what?
I said shout out to Ayla Girl. Make sure to tag her and tell her that we're playing her game. She can come join us in chat.
Oh, I don't want to. Typically, there's a set of like 125 questions. So I'm just gonna go through, roll a dice, and gonna go through ask each person one at a time a question based on the dice roll. And at any point, else can jump in and like ask some more questions or whatever. But I thought it would just be fun to play. Um, so I guess I'll start. I'm just gonna roll 1d5. What?
What?
What's wrong?
Sorry, I just had a syntax error. Okay, so I got number 41. So the question is, what percentage of your preferred age/gender demographic would you be down to have sex with after roughly roughly an hour of flirting?
Wait, say that again?
Jesus Christ.
What percentage of your preferred age/gender demographic would you be down to have sex with after roughly an hour of flirting? Roughly an hour of flirting? That's a lot of flirting. I feel like she would be pretty into it at that point.
Wait, so is it just asking how quickly you go from flirting to banging? Is if an hour is enough?
I mean, what percentage of that would you be down to after an hour of flirting?
No, I think this is like kind of like a hot or not question, right? It's saying like of the pie, like how much of the pie
Yeah,
would
I
you
mean,
eat?
effectively, it's not right. Like, do you think this person's hot or not? Do you swipe left or right? Um,
And then it's like what's your take on the whole percentage of people in your
yeah, and I guess you can modulate that based on like how willing you're ready to have sex within an hour. Um, I don't know. I don't think it would be particularly high. I probably find about like 30% of people to be high if I'm flirting with them for an hour and it's like pretty consensual back and forth. Um, that's a lot of flirting. I don't know. Maybe like 20%. I don't know. So who's next? Nate, you're to my left, so it's gonna be you.
I feel like this is a trick question and I'm gonna say 0%. Because
So you don't get in trouble?
yes.
Yeah, fair enough.
I still don't understand the question. So in the
If
the
we
percentage of my demographic that I would date,
Of your preferred age/gender demographic, your preferred.
okay. So so like you guys are saying, it's just how much are hot or not, right? So, I don't know, 20% probably.
Yeah.
my grandma once said everyone's beautiful when they're young.
I mean, like, they're the most beautiful they're going to be when they're young, probably. I think that's probably true for most people. Most
So
people don't really have
if you're next time you're looking at somebody and they're not in that 20% Alan, just imagine them being old and then unimagine them being old. And there you go. It's a whole new perspective.
get hot, significantly hotter, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Or what be you, champ?
I mean, if I'm flirting with anyone for a fucking hour and I'm time investing in that, like, I've got to actually give a fuck about that person enough to, like, insert an hour. So 90%, unless, like, I find them absolutely distasteful. Just realistically speaking.
That does make sense because it's like the hour is already a filter thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
like if you're going back and forth for a solid hour, that's
Yeah.
that's a lot of interest on both sides, I guess. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, fair
Uh,
enough. Justin, you said AELLA girl.
Uh, eh, underscore.
Yeah.
Make sure there's an underscore between, because otherwise it's gonna be nudes.
I'm shooting her a tweet.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Let's fucking get her ass in here.
And, like, she might. I don't know. Who knows? Um. So the next one was 66. So Nate, this question's going to you. Number 66 is, what kind of people do you get along with best?
What kind of people do I get along with best? So yeah, then it's just well, step one is like how are we classifying people? I guess that's really the part of the question. I don't know. It's like I wouldn't want to make any like prescriptive claims, like
This is
because it's like 'cause these things would all become like self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Like whatever you think is probably what it's going to be. But just looking historically, like I tend to get along with people that play video games. I tend to get along with people that know like I don't tend to get along with people that like would ever put sports paint on their face.
Don't we know a few of those?
I mean, sports paint not every weekend, but I think everything has a time and place, right? Like
Sure.
if we went to like something like the World Cup, I bet I could convince you fairly easily to put on some face paint.
Yeah, I mean, if we were all doing the group trip, I would do it. Just
I'm not against it in principle. I don't know. I just like
it's not something that you would will to do, nor like would you normally be around someone that would will to do that on their own of their own volition.
so I just feel like I'm just kind of remembering like 2 years ago, like at least or maybe even more, when I was on like Tinder or whatever it was. And I feel like there's just this like spectrum of like Harry Potter reader to like baseball game attender. And it's like I don't know, it seems like and honestly baseball games are fun. I'm not even trying to hate on it, but it just like I don't know what it is. It seems like there's some kind of spectrum there. And it's just like closer to like the Harry Potter reader side of things.
I feel like half that Venn diagram is dropped off now that J.K. Rowling's like.
I don't think that's true.
I think those are people that are like I think those are people that are very online. I think people still just love Harry Potter, honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's probably.
As someone that still loves Harry Potter despite her being a transphobe, yeah, I still love Harry Potter.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Like, dude, the sheer popularity of it. Sheer popularity.
It was a magical
Zero
book.
Like,
And
she's an asshole, but like she's literally created something that's got Star Wars-esque levels of like niche cultures. That's not going away anytime soon, sadly.
I would say
yeah.
I would say in modern times it surpassed Star Wars. And
Yes.
and as much as I hate to admit, has surpassed Lord of the Rings.
Yes, but also you have to remember we're looking at this in the time period. Like right now, yeah, but if at the peak Star Wars was peak Star Wars, and then you have like peak Harry Potter, you have peak Lord of the Rings, etc.
Sure.
But it's a cultural phenomena at the point of you have theme parks that have spend like $200 to get your own wand and have your Harry Potter experience, and a video game that does that for you now. So
Sure.
what can you do?
Sure.
Yeah, Hogwarts Legacy has grossed $850 million in sales.
Oh man, fantastic. Good for them.
Did they
12
break?
million units.
Did they
Crazy.
break like single highest grossing single player game?
No.
Did it? It's the fastest selling non-FIFA game in Europe in a long time.
But
Okay.
it has mountains to climb, John, before it can get like those.
It's getting close to Elden Ring sales.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, fair.
But I think
So-
like GTA 5 was the highest grossing single player game for quite a while.
Okay.
Anyways,
Getting back to the question.
Next question, Justin.
Yeah.
All right, Alan, what kind of people do you get along with best?
That's the same
in what
question.
in what setting?
Are we supposed to do a new question? Okay, all right, let's just do a
Oh.
new question.
Are
New
you
question.
doing one to every person, or are you doing like everyone gets a go?
I was gonna do initially I was gonna do one to everyone, and then we started doing like one each go. So I was going along with that, but like I'll just throw it to everyone.
Just do what feels right, Justin. You've got the
All
crown
right,
this week.
99. So
99.
Alan,
Yes, sir. Lay it on me.
you see a friend getting into the third emotionally abusive relationship in a row. Are they a victim?
Are they a victim?
Are they a victim? The third one in a row.
I mean, it's like saying like if you get mugged 3 times in a row, are you a victim? I guess so. But if you're like if every 3 weeks you're just like, hey, I'm going back to Brazil with like my fucking wallet chain and I'm gonna walk outside the hotel. I hope I don't get mugged again. It's like, well, why are you doing that, man? You're gonna get mugged.
Yeah.
They tell you at the hotel you're gonna get mugged if you like step outside the grounds, and yet you
Yeah.
keep doing it. It's like, well, I like
So
the air.
I'm hearing yes, but what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
yes, you're the victim, but what are you doing?
I appreciate you biting the bullet on that one. All right. Chan, you got 121.
Oh, lovely.
121's a good number, man.
Yeah, but he's laughing, so it's already fucked. So, what is it?
Do women have any systemic privilege due to their gender?
Oh, okay.
Uh, should we have pass? I don't know.
No, I mean like bodily autonomy, obviously. Like,
I mean, is that a privilege though?
well,
Like when I think privilege, I think like male privilege, where someone has an advantage over someone else.
okay.
Um,
I mean, I don't really like the concept of anyone having a systemic privilege, but they do already exist too.
I mean, yeah,
So,
we're just talking about descriptive claims, not like it should be this way or whatever. It's just like, is it this way?
you're asking like, should it be this way?
No, I'm
Like,
asking, is it this way? I'm not asking whether or not it should be. Like, I think obviously the answer is like, no, nobody should have an inherent advantage over anyone else. But do they or do they not?
um, yeah, no, you're gonna want to give me a pass on this because I have one route I could go down, and it's not gonna be pretty for me. So no.
Okay, all right, I'll give you a pass. All right, let me
Yeah, give me something else. Come on.
you get one pass, by the way. Like, if you get another spicy one, you just gotta do
Yeah,
it.
but if the question comes, should there be suffrage, then like fucking just skip the question.
Oh God, this is better. All right, Chan.
Okay.
Who in this room would you most like to have sex with?
Oh, if it's any of the three, Allan, easily.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ.
Damn.
Allan's a good-looking dude. Of like the people that I would find sexually attractive, it would be Allan, and then it would probably tie between Nate and Justin
Damn.
for differing reasons.
I'll take
Yeah.
it, man. I'll take it.
But I've also known Allan the longest, so like there would be some like hesitation there. But at the same time, Allan's a good-looking dude. Has been taking care of himself about his body and everything. I'd be like, yeah, I'd go to town with that.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. I am like a fine wine though, so it's the longer you know me, it's the more I have that effect on people. Justin, I'll see you in a couple of years. You'll be saying this.
That and when Allan gets his ego stroked, his charisma goes through the roof. So it's an attractive quality.
Great job, Alan.
That's a win for the ALC boys. We all take a little bit of that.
I'll get to those. We'll see. Okay, so I guess it's my turn now. I got 122, which is incest wrong? Should it be illegal?
Oh my God! Just one of these questions.
These are good questions. These are important questions. Society needs to answer once and for all.
Inherently, like,
Justin.
no. I like it's probably not just morally wrong. Like if there are two twins, like
Wait,
same,
don't we need to bridge the is ought gap first? I thought that's a prerequisite for this discussion.
Do you want to do that for us?
No.
I think I already gave the disclaimer to Chan. Like, so like, is it wrong in and of itself? No. However, with incest situations, there can be a lot of like power imbalances, uh, like parent-child or like uncle nephew or whatever. Like, there can be a lot of those things, and those things are wrong, but for like different reasons. They aren't wrong because of incest. They're wrong because like you shouldn't be touching a child, or you shouldn't be touching someone that you could potentially groom or whatever. Um, so I mean, that's my answer. Like, anybody want to comment on that?
Well, I think I've got a different answer.
Oh, really? Okay. What's up?
So yeah, I mean, I think it's very attractive for a lot of people to analyze these sorts of questions with a completely consequentialist ethics, just because like if you've got attention to think about it, then you're thinking about consequences. That's just kind of natural. And but I think there's like an extreme of consequentialist ethics where you get into trouble, and that is just kind of you start to get into these like problems with like pernicious like exceptions where like and I guess like and the way I'd like to illustrate this is like so say you just have some society and everybody's kind of going along minding their own business, people are just kind of following moral norms, and then you've got somebody that just has this oracle and knows the exact outcome of every single action. So from a consequentialist ethics point of view, he will start to behave completely erratically, but he always knows from a consequentialist perspective like all these things are it's going to be like the best outcome. But the thing is, like, this person like cannot actually participate in the society anymore because like if say the police are trying to like monitor this guy, they'd be like, okay, like they just have to concede that this guy is like the moral authority and there's nothing they can do because it's like okay, one day he crashed his car, one day he like killed somebody, but he's like looking at this oracle and he knows all the consequentialist outcomes, right? But it's like I don't know, it's like what I'm trying to get at is there's like a certain arrogance of exceptions that is like required if you're going to do 100% consequentialist morality. So
I don't disagree with that. However, how does that relate to?
so okay, yeah, I'm getting there. So what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to like have like a mostly consequentialist morality, but just admit that like it can't be completely consequentialist, meaning there needs to be some things that aren't consequentialist morality, which means that some things would just be like inherently wrong, at least a little bit, right? So without an analysis of the outcome at all, I think you've just got a taste of that, and I think that taste kind of makes the whole thing kind of work out a little bit more, and I think there would be a taste of that on like the incest issue. I don't even think before looking at the consequences. I think. I don't know. I think it's valid to say that there is some sort of like non-consequence based taboo there.
So, are you saying that incest should be like is wrong?
Yes,
Okay. How is incest wrong?
because there is a slight bias towards like there's a slight bias that you need towards what how to pronounce this word deontology.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think there's a bias towards that's required for like a good moral for not necessarily for a good moral analysis, but for like a holistic working moral system in like a society.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that, but like, what about incest would trigger that?
Just experience, history and experience.
Interesting.
I would generally lean with Justin. It's like we're getting to a point where, I don't know, for better or worse, like attraction and sexual relationships is all coming down to a very, very strong foundation of consent. It's like informed consent of I know what this is what I want, let me do it. And then just like working out the exceptions to that, I think one could be, the potentiality for I guess grooming, like if that potential could exist, then like we don't want that. But if the other potential is just like, hey, you know, this is my cousin, cousin's hot, I'm gonna bang my cousin. I don't really think that's a big issue. I think for most people, they get that familial like grossness with their family.
Yeah, there's definitely a big ick factor.
I think that happens for like 99% of people. So we're
Right.
talking about like generally like niche case scenarios.
No, I'm saying that ick factor, like, it might be like should be like a real part of it. That's basically what I'm saying.
I think the ick factor is like I think it's like instinctual, right? I think we develop that as
I don't
part
know.
of like as part of growing up close to each. I don't think like I never heard in society it's like, you know, society wasn't just like, by the way, like you don't bang anyone in your family. No one ever told me that. Like just kind of
But they didn't tell you who your family was.
Sure.
I mean, otherwise you might not even know.
Sure. I mean, if I didn't grow up with my family, like I don't know, maybe I would think differently about them.
And I think you have to learn like what a family even is. I don't think people are born knowing that.
Like the one time you all invite me on to be a guest, how are we talking about incest? How do we get here so fucking quickly? My god!
Justin rolled the 120.
122, baby.
He rolled the one double deuce.
Since we're all weighing in, fine, okay. I think enough permutations of what could be considered an incestuous relationship have too many overlappings of the skewed power dynamic, the obvious potential and probable grooming, the multiple like abusive like aspects that could have happened with that. And I think Allan has a point there of like when you're growing up, there is like a psychological factor of like ick that you develop and that some people don't, and that it can happen that like people will actually like see each other as attractive. And there are psychologists that do say that like there are people that will say it's natural for you to have like sexual dreams about your parents because like you care about your parents and everything. And there is a factor there of like people that have like daddy or mommy complexes that turn into kinks and all of that. But back to the permutations, I think there's too much there, too many probable outcomes where you take that majority and you say, yeah, we should probably net this as a total no because there's too much possibility for abuse there. And it's just like finding like the through lines where like there could be the acceptability. It's not worth the effort. The ROI is not good.
Yeah, I think I basically agree with that. I think that's another way to summarize my view.
Yeah, I'm like I agree with the bad parts. But like, can we just legislate against the bad parts? Like, does that still make incest wrong? Like, if something's bad in 90% of cases, but like it's okay in 10%, like is that thing still bad?
How are you going to teach that though, and say like this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong?
Well, I mean,
let's have a big book of family fuck.
I mean, don't date kids. Like, adults don't date kids.
Right.
Like, don't raise your kid to date you. Like, I think that's a clear one, right? Like, you don't we frown upon that with teachers, and maybe even we should legislate that as well.
Let's also bring into the fact that you're going to have kids trying to, you know, dick each other because they don't know any better, and they're like, okay, well, let's experiment. Who said that this was wrong? Did parents initially say that? If they didn't, then well,
is that wrong? I don't know. That's the question, right?
People are gonna bang. Just let them bang. It's like at the end of the day, everyone's gonna bang, and you're gonna bang who you're gonna want to bang. Like as long as it's not within those, you know, clearly terrible for society type of situations. Which I mean, incest could be like.
I both love and hate this conversation. Holy crap! Go ahead, Nate.
I guess what I would say is like the amount of effort that it makes sense to spend to prevent it should be in proportion to like the amount of bad things. And then sure, maybe you could kind of orchestrate some situation where like you take all the bad things out of the picture. And then I guess like, well, I don't know. From the argument that I was making, I would still have a bias against it. But like, would I be willing to spend lots of energy to prevent it from happening? Like, I'd only be willing to spend like energy proportional to like the deontological bias, and I wish I had a better way to say that because I'm not sure that makes sense to anybody. But
Sure.
and for me, that's actually like a pretty small part of the whole equation. I just think that the equation needs it. The whole equation needs a little bit of that, I think. But
Okay.
it's like it's a pretty small part of it though. So it's like I just say like if like if you've had this case where it was like the one special case where you've like fixed all the problems, and then if they asked me if they should do it, they'd be like, probably not. But would I do anything beyond that? Like, no, I don't think so.
All right.
Justin, why are you pre-laughing? I saw the roll and I saw your head go
Next-
down and I saw your
Justin.
smile widen.
Next
We're
question.
skipping that one. We're not. That one is not safe to stream.
Oh, the incest one was safe, but this one's not.
Correct. Yes.
Oh,
Zero. Right.
Jesus Christ.
I just won't ask, I guess. I don't know.
All right, next question then, Justin.
I'll tell you guys after stream.
Can you pantomime what it was with like hand puppets?
I can. Oh, I can't even post in chat. No.
Let me do one side ask since we're still in the incest before we get into whatever next effed up question we're going to get to.
Sure.
Sure.
All of the stepbro and stepsis porn that got born out of this, okay or not okay from your point of view? Since we're talking about incest, do you give a fuck about step siblings because it's not biological incest?
In terms,
Oh yeah, zero fucks.
in terms of porn or in terms of incest?
Yes.
In terms of porn, who cares? It's porn. Like, let people do whatever.
Yeah,
they want with
it's
porn.
funny. It's geeky. Like, cool. Who
in-
cares? Like, even in real life, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
In terms of incest, it doesn't really count. I don't think.
yeah, I mean, there's no blood relations. Like, there's no risk of like weird babies. Like,
in some states, I think it counts. I also think it depends on like when you become step siblings. Are you both?
Okay, well,
30
how
years
about
old?
what if
30?
you're in a relationship with your step sibling, and then you break up? And
There's
then
an
you-
anime of that. There's an anime of that. All right. I know where you're going. There's already an anime of that, but keep going.
I don't think Nate's going toward the anime. Okay.
Well, so you break up, and you're like, oh man, I just broke up with my significant other. I want to go home, and you go home, and then you're like, they're there still.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same reason you don't date in the office, right? Like, it's a recommendation, not necessarily like a moral wrong.
It's just shitting where you eat, man.
Unless it creates a power dynamic that like doesn't actually help the business. But yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys were all saying it was just fine 1 minute
I mean,
ago.
it's fine. Like, you can date in the office. Nobody thinks it's morally wrong to date in the office. It's just not recommended because it's a bad idea.
So I think like yeah, I don't know. I think there's this like distinction that people have between like moral things and other common sense things. That to me it just seems like it's just like a degree of morality. It's just like a minor degree. I don't know. I don't know. I think they're completely.
That one at some point.
Uh,
I re-rolled. I'm not doing that one, but I re-rolled again. Number 100. Do you feel that you have conscious control over your beliefs? Could you, right now, decide to believe something else if you tried? If so, which beliefs?
who is this directed to?
Who's that, Nate?
Nate.
And me?
Yeah.
Do I have conscious control over my beliefs? For the most part, no. Honestly, I think my beliefs are basically, for the most part, like built on intuition, which I have like very little conscious control over. But like, I think I could try to, if there was like a lot of information that was like contradicting one of my beliefs. I don't know. It's because it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I do have conscious control over that. I think if I'm getting a lot of information contradicting one of my beliefs, I think that'll get kind of processed by my intuition first, and then I'll be consciously aware of that revised belief later. That's a boring answer, but I think that's just how it works for me.
Would you opt to be able to get your intuition swapped with someone else's, or get like a malleable intuition? Would you want that? Or would you just keep your own intuition?
I don't know. I don't like, I don't think it like. I think I guess so. The big thing is like the big boogeyman here is confirmation bias, right? So it's like I could sit here and say like, oh yeah, but it's like, but I'm right about so many things. But then like that's what everybody thinks, and that's like the whole thing of confirmation bias. But like, I don't know. That said, I'm just in that bucket too. I don't know.
Sure.
There I am. Yeah.
Good answer, Nate.
Good answer. I think I more or less agree with that. Like, I think you can act on your preferences, but you can't really choose your preferences.
I don't think anyone can, right? Maybe like
Nope.
maybe like a psychopath. But
Yeah.
even then, they have their own like they have the shit that can change. But even then, somewhere down there, there's shit that can't change, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Chan, do you have any comments?
This is just a weird day, but I'm loving it. But keep going.
Sick. All right. So, Alan,
Yes, sir.
you got number 33. If you were invited to an all-nude party where all the participants are required to be naked the whole time,
Mhm.
would you go?
If I didn't
I-
know anyone
Uh,
there, I'd consider it.
Yeah.
I have an aside for this. Keep going.
I generally don't want to see my friends. Like, okay, it's weird. If either of you said like, "Hey, I have a sex tape. Do you want to watch it?" I'd probably watch it. But if we're in a locker room scenario, I don't want to see any of my friends naked, and I don't want any of my friends to see me naked. But if you're just like, "Hey, like, have a sex tape. If you want to watch it," I was like, "All right, sure, dude. Let's grab a beer."
Where's the next tape in the question?
No. It's just like demonstrating my comfortability, like
All right.
seeing people I know naked. It's like I generally don't want to see the people I know naked. I generally don't want the people I know to see me naked. So if I didn't really know anyone there, I'd consider going. That being said, I've always wanted to have like a black tie party where all the help and the servants and the cooks and stuff were all like in different like levels of like naked and like ropes and shit strapped on them. And then we could all like chill and have like a highbrow party and like ring a bell, and some like, chicks with like high heels and wearing nothing would like come in like serve us stuff, or they'd be like dudes like for the guys that like dudes just like laying around naked. I think that'd be a cool party and make us all feel very powerful.
Isn't that like what it was like at the end of Squid Game?
Was that what it was like?
Kinda.
Like the furniture naked people?
I don't remember this.
It was a lot of servers there that were basically considered property to be used by the wealthy and powerful there, and that's when the cop like took out one of them. Spoilers, but
I haven't
I
seen the
do-
movie, but I think
I do know what you're talking about, Nate. Go ahead.
I haven't seen the movie, but I think what I'm describing would be akin to an Eyes Wide Shut party.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know what's going on in the movie, but I vaguely have heard that like there's like a weird like half naked person party in it, but everyone else is like black tie. I think that would be
So
cool.
I've
I
kind of
think-
been to one of these parties.
Huh.
It was my ex who I was dating at the time said, "Hey, do you want to come up to this place? I'm not going to go into like here's this location, all of that, and break that down and dox anyone. But hey, do you want to come up here and like hang out with some of my friends and play poker and like drink and like we can crash for the night and everything and like we'll be able to get away and like have a place to ourselves. They'll give us a room and everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay, yeah, we could do that." What I didn't know was the person to the right of me was going to be wearing a diaper because he was the new meat. Just
Jesus
sitting there in a diaper.
Christ.
And also apparently like in a free use sort of scenario where,
Jesus.
and I don't know if this was an agreed upon thing, but he got grabbed upon quite liberally. My partner at the time told me nothing of this was going to happen, and they had made the claim of like, "Oh, this sort of thing never sort of happens." I'm like,
That's a goddamn lie.
you said "sort of" way too many times in that sentence.
Wait, he got what upon?
So free use being in like a agreed upon with like other parties, like you can do whatever you want during the day, and people will try to touch and have sex with you in any sort of manner. Now imagine you're sitting there completely naked except for a diaper that you are wearing, and people just walking up and touching your ding dong
How are they doing that if he's wearing the diaper over it?
by putting your hand down the diaper.
Fucking sliding into the diaper.
No.
Did you,
Okay.
did you make the diaper guy give you a handy?
No, no. I just tried to play the poker. I got nicknamed something without my consent. I told them my given name and what I prefer to be called as Chan, and they wanted to call me George because it was his house. For whatever reason, he wanted to call me George or something like Josh or something. I'm like, I don't like that. And then the next morning, I ended up seeing his dick because he walked around the house naked. And I'm just like, it's like 10 in the morning, and I came downstairs. There's just a dude hanging dong in front of me.
Cool.
And I could not look because there's dong in front of me.
Yeah.
I've never been to one of these
Was it a nice dong at least?
diaper parties.
What'd you say, Justin?
Was it a nice dong at least?
No, mine was bigger.
Okay, all right.
He didn't say
Anyway.
anything about size. He just said about niceness.
No, but I have a major ego about mine, so and also I really didn't like the guy because like he just kind of casually like had a girl that he wasn't dating just sit on his lap and then just took her top out and just like proceeded to suckle, and I was just like, I turned and looked at my girlfriend who was behind me, and I'm like, well, where am I? What is going on?
This was the for use guy?
No, this was
Oh,
the
no.
guy whose home it was and who's polyamorous. Like a lot of the people there were like in a polyamorous relationship with him, and some others were just like sexual
like-
partners of some of the other people. But as my partner at the time claimed, like it never gets this randy and wild. And she had already been drinking. I was sober going into this. I just came for poker. I also found out later she brought her brother here to play poker, and they didn't have as wild of a night, air quoting there because you can't see me. But yeah,
See, I think that counts more towards like sex party, and I was talking more about like naked party.
yeah, no. I know what the question is. I just that was my closest I'd ever gotten to that. Literally, just wanted to go for poker.
Well,
I'm pretty sure two people were having sex on the couch across from me, and that's not even hyperbole.
buddy, we're all glad you had that
It's really
experience.
uncomfortable.
It was an eye-opening experience. It was my first time actually being around polyamorous people, and it gave me a really bad taste in my mouth for polyamorous people. But I don't hate polyamory anymore. So
Okay, well, good for you, man.
yeah.
All right. Speaking of
Because
polyamory,
there's like polyamorous, right? And then there's like swingers, right? That seems like that's more on like the swinger side.
Well,
Polyamorous. There was.
I mean, like that's probably an overlapping Venn diagram. Like if you're a swinger, you're probably poly.
Okay. I'll give you a couple things there. One, swingers can overlap. Two, that was not a swingers party. A swingers party would be people going there with the intention of leaving with someone else in general, and usually doing like a key bowl party.
Fishbowl.
Because I've watched a lot of television, so I know this.
No, Nate, I think the umbrella term I think you're looking for is like non-monogamous. Like polyamorous people are non-monogamous. That like sex club swinger thing, those people are non-monogamous. But there's like different types. Like polyamorous is more like, I guess the way I see it,
you're actually
like
dating or having multiple sex partners acknowledged.
Yeah, that's more like relationship stuff. Swingers are more like, you know, wham bang, thank you ma'am. Like swingers are like one night stand type of things, and there's like a middle ground where it's like you kind of date people, but you mostly just like you have your partner at home, and then you just bang people left and right.
Yeah, like if you went out with another couple with your own partner and then you swapped partners and like had sex, that would be swinging. That would be a partner swap. But polyamorous would be like you can have multiple partners. Those partners could have their own partners. You could share partners. It's a major major Venn diagram, honestly.
But yeah, my understanding is the polyamorous thing is like that. That's all. It's like there's lots of like there could be like lots of relationships, but that could still all transpire in like one-on-one events.
Yes.
Right, and that's actually my like archetype that I think of polyamorous. It's like people are like doing stuff one-on-one, but it's like they just have multiple relationships that they're managing. But this other situation is like an orgy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is
and they did not ask my consent for any of it, so I was really put off.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah. GG's.
GG's. All right, so Chan.
Yes.
You rolled 101. What is the most controversial opinion you hold among your own social group?
Oh,
He can't
why?
skip it. He can't skip it.
No, I can't skip it.
This is a good one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, the most controversial opinion I could say. I
Among
on
your group.
among my social group. So my most controversial opinion amongst like ALC.
Yeah.
I think Tori's a cunt. There's my most controversial opinion.
Damn.
And I know that he's still friends with some of you all and everything, but like everything that happened with Tori, yeah, I'm not trying to like throw stones and everything, but you want me not to skip. That's my opinion. But again, that's from my experience with a lot of things that happened in the past. I haven't even seen the guy in forever, so it could be like completely gone, but I'll never trust him again. And I'm okay with that. But again, like I know Nate, you're still friends with him to some extent, right?
Well,
And I'm not.
I tried before COVID. I tried getting back in touch, and it seemed because I saw that he was in Maryland, and then it's like I feel like it's like we almost like I don't know. There's one night where randomly like I was in Silver Spring. I think maybe you were there, Alan.
Yeah, that was when Russell's dad died. We went to go to a bar with him.
Oh yeah, and then I think I texted Tori, and it's like we almost connected there, and then like COVID, and then I don't think I've even talked to him since in any capacity. But
Okay.
yeah, what's funny is like looking back, I do remember there was like various stuff that happened, but and I never what I never understood was like what the significance of it was, right? It's like yeah, I don't know. Like I guess I just don't remember what happened is the real issue.
There was a lot of stuff going on that I know there was some stuff that you were dealing with at the time too. That like when initially like all of Tori's stuff that happened, like it wasn't so much that there was stuff that went down in like most cases. There was like a couple of particular things that happened that Tori was kind of just selfish for. But like I said, I'm not trying to air a shit ton of laundry. I just know that all of my experiences and then like having some of my like, hey, I know how I am as a person, and I know my thought process is going to be I'm going to have a million of like worst case scenarios happen. Here's some of them that I know are going to happen, like when ALC had an intervention for him. I told them to Allan. I told them to Andy. I said, this is exactly how I feel it's going to actually go down because y'all aren't going to do this right because I hate interventions. And then I get a phone call from Allan and Andy, and then everything I asked happened to some extent. So I'm like, so nothing changed, and I don't want to get into it with him again, and I don't trust him, and I never will again. But that's probably my most controversial opinion.
I'm out of the loop, but I'm not sure how much in the loop I should try to get.
I love
that's all.
Tori.
Huh?
I love Tori. I miss him. I tried to reach out to him a couple months ago. I thought I had his number. I think I still do have his number, but I didn't text him. I reached out to him on Steam because we're still Steam friends. I always see him online, but he never responded.
I mean, like it boils down to two things, Nate, with me: childishness and selfishness. But again, it's not something I want to like just have a recording of and like just go off on and be like, oh hey, here's like the one time Chan coming on a podcast and he's just gonna like eviscerate this person. No, like it's shit in the past that I don't want to revisit at the moment.
All right, moving on then.
Did you get what you wanted, Justin?
Yeah, that's great. Great job, Chad.
Okay.
I appreciate you biting the bullet. All right, so I got number 36. If you had to choose one, would you rather double or halve your sex drive?
Oh, good question.
I think it would really depend on the person. If I'm single, I think I would rather have it. I think there are some partners I would rather double it with, and some I would rather have it with.
Jesus.
I mean,
Okay.
that's not much. I don't know. Like people vary a lot. But I mean, like if I'm single, I think it's generally kind of just annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Your
If we're
sex drive is annoying?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, if we're shooting this in the room, I'd have mine all the time. I'm way too horny, especially when I'm depressed.
I don't think I'm that horny. Like it's just, I think it's just kind of annoying to be horny.
No, man. I fucking mine's up there. I'd still double mine.
Yeah, damn.
I feel like if I doubled mine, I would probably creep out any sexual partner I'd want to go with. So I'm good with keeping it down where I'm at,
Now
or even lowering it.
you just got to jerk off more.
No.
You got to get those numbers up.
That's a rookie number. Okay. All right. I got to roll for Nate then. 55. All right, Nate. What is the best advice you've received, and why did you need it?
The best advice I've received, and why do I need it?
Yeah. If you have trouble choosing, you can downgrade to like, what's some good advice?
Right now, I'm trying to just remember literally any advice.
Buddy, I give you advice every week.
Yeah, but you said the best, buddy.
The advice I give to everyone is the best advice I've ever heard.
Let's see.
That's that hot ego. Keep going.
I think I'm on the trail of something here. So one thing that's good advice is like, if you're ever negotiating for anything, just don't like throw it in the first number if you can avoid it, because like you will learn that like a lot of the time you'll learn that I don't know. It's like the whoever like gives the first number in any kind of negotiation, it's like it's like that's how they framed the whole thing, and the way you're thinking about it, you think the other person has your same frame as you, and then like because you're kind of doing the negotiation in your head first, but in reality, it's like people just have entirely different frames for things, right? So like yeah, the first number, if like if we're talking about, I don't know, like trying to negotiate a job offer or anything like that, like really just say like market rate. Just say something like that. Like, oh, okay, I just want market rate. And then like they'll tell you what they think it is, maybe. Or they'll try to get you to say the number first, but then that's not good.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I've shifted on this a lot. In my early 20s, I used to say just don't be the first person to throw out a number. Say you know you're negotiable, like whatever. And now I'm kind of on the other side of it. Like I think having being the first person to say the number can be really powerful. Like you are setting the frame. So if you're getting a job offer or something, and they ask you, hey, what's your number? Um, I think just swag really high, and they'll talk you down if they really want to. Sometimes you can talk yourself out of a job if you swag really high, but I think more often than not, at least in the job market I'm in, that's worked out better for me than not.
Yeah, and I guess it is worth a caveat. Like if you have some sense, if you have some reason to think that you know like what they're going to be expecting, then you can entertain like that kind of strategy. But like a lot of the time going into things like that takes some, that's for like a specific situation, right? Like but a lot of the times in these sorts of negotiations you don't have that kind of information. It could be like how much somebody might want to pay for like a car,
Sure.
or just something where like might not even be able to guess.
I mean, I think it comes down to quite a lot of factors for this specific sort of strategy. Not even talking and forcing someone else to start the conversation at all. For example, people don't really do shit in person anymore, but imagine like, you know, you go for the final interview or whatever. You go there, you know, person's like, all right, go. You're gonna go in conference room B. Go in conference room B. You sit down. Person comes in, stand up, shake the hand. How are you? You sit back down. Silence. Don't even say a word. Maintain eye contact and wait for them to sort of start the conversation. That's a negotiation tactic, a la like Tywin Lannister. You know, if
Or a la Dennis Reynolds.
sort of, yeah. I mean, like if you want to, it's a strategy and something you should keep in your toolbox. I wouldn't necessarily opt for it, depending on the situation, but it's also pretty viable not to be the one to break the ice, because you keep, again, like if you're talking about focus and onus, like you're putting that on the other person to constantly. It's like hey, we want you here. Here's, I'm putting it on the table, putting more on the table. You're not talking. I will just keep putting more and more information on the table, and it gives you time to dissect and pick out exactly the tidbits that you need to formulate your response. But I also think it comes down to I guess it comes down to options. Like, do you have options that like you can risk? Like, you can introduce how much risk can you introduce to this conversation? And I think that's about like options. Like, if you're, it's like, all right, we'll have 10 job offers, and they're all like market rate or market rate plus. Like, I'm never coming in for anything other than market rate plus at your company. So, the job is for like market rate's like 115 grand. And you're just like, well, we're going to start 125 because I already have 4 other offers for that amount. So you can set the stage by just being like, I got other offers, give this job to me or not. But I'm happy to walk.
I actually thought of like another thing of advice.
Yes, sir. Lay it on us.
If you're dropping somebody off, you might as well just wait for them to get in the door before you drive away. Because and I guess what's the main, so one, I think when somebody was giving me this advice, it was like a safety thing, like, okay, because it's like, maybe this was back when I was just learning to drive the first time, so there's still some like shadow of like stranger danger, or somebody's going to swoop and like tuck them under, swoop, grab the child, tuck them under their arm like a football and run away. But like so realistically, like, that's not the concern, but the real concern is like they just don't have their keys or something.
Sure.
And then if you just booked it already, you just drove off, and then they're standing there, they don't have their keys, or maybe their keys are in your car. Or yeah, it would just be a giant pain. So yeah, I might as well just like spend the 30 seconds it takes to verify that they actually have their keys. Mm-hmm. Or like if somebody like jingles the keys, it's like, I have the keys, like then I'll just drive away then. But most of the time, you might as well just wait for them to open the door.
Sure. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
I had to create an obsessive pattern whenever I would do that when I got my license. Wallet, cell phone, keys, cigarettes, lighter. And then I chopped 2 of those off after I quit, so.
Yeah.
And then I do the exact same thing with other people. I'm like, you have wallet, cell phone, keys, cigarettes, lighter. Go.
Yay, Chan.
All right, Justin.
All right, Justin. Allan, you got
sir.
number 32.
Okay.
Justin, you skipped 2 of them. What were those 2?
One was repeat, and the other one that we're not doing on stream.
Okay.
32 is a good number.
So and if you want a free pass on this one, I'll give you a free pass on this one. Out of all your past sexual experiences, what has made you the most uncomfortable?
Has made me the most uncomfortable? Someone smelled.
Ooh, like how bad? Like what? Like how bad? What kind? Like
I packed it up and left.
Okay, so like high intensity. Like what was the smell? Was it like a poop smell? Was it like a BO smell? Was it like
just
smell?
kind of like a bad BO smell?
That's entirely warranted. Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I don't do smells. Like,
yeah.
I like the way that people smell. Like, I enjoy the natural smell of someone I'm into, and that person didn't have that, so packed it up and left. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty straightforward. Yeah, good one. All right, Chan.
Okay.
You got number 76. What is the most significant thing you've ever changed your mind about?
The loaded question. Fucking Christ.
They're all pretty loaded, dude.
The most significant thing that I've ever changed my mind about. I guess my religious faith, you could say, because I grew up Catholic. That's like, I mean, like, I would have to say either that or wanting to marry my ex and then breaking up with her in like the same year of changing that.
Yeah.
It's a tie between those. I had to spend a long time like thinking like, can I coexist with having my logical mind and also believing in Catholicism? Like, we have a mutual friend that I won't name, but you could all pretty much pick up on this, who would, for his own amusement, but also like trying to promote like logical thinking, will sit down with you at an ALC event and then talk to you about your religious connotation and say like, so you still believe in this, this, and this? I'm like, yes. And then we'll say like, right, but do you actually believe in like Noah's Ark, or do you actually believe in like the entire world flooded, or do you actually believe in like this parable or that parable? And we'll dissect based off of those specific things. And I feel like Justin's already picked up on it. Allan already knows. Nate has a gather on that, but it's stuff like that that I don't ever mind because I will engage anyone in any conversation. But in all honesty, like I see a lot of good that was done by Catholics for other people, but fundamentally speaking, and it's not just me not wanting to wake up early on a goddamn Sunday or late on a Saturday and going into mass. Fair enough to that, but there's just some things that people are just doing because they were told to do so, that if they actually sat down and think about it, are not inherently good things that help people and breed intolerance that I could easily pick out. And a lot of the times I would feel socially awkward being at like gatherings of people that are all like-minded and all agreeing on something, because if I spoke out and said anything, I would be rude, inconsiderate, and disrespectful, and also just talked down to in most cases. So that bred a lot of stuff in me that was just like, no, I don't agree with that. And also, like, the fights I would get into that would devolve into, well, you know, in the Bible it says, all right, now cite something that's not from a priest or the Bible or from your own just like reasoning, or cite something that comes from a medical journal that doesn't have the backing of the Catholic Church's pocket. If you can't do that, please fuck off from this conversation because I can't deal.
Yeah,
I
that's fair. Like,
I'm kind of wondering who it was. It wasn't me, was it? It wasn't me.
It was you.
Starts
Nate.
with an M.
It was me. What was it? Oh, okay. I think I know.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. The older I get, the more pro-social I actually feel religion is, for at least the majority of people. But I think it is pretty bad for minorities.
Mhm.
Like not like racial minorities necessarily, but like people like that have minority opinions or minority identities of some sort. It's because of the dogmatic nature of religion, like it can be pretty bad for those people.
I just hate the groupthink. Like, I like thinking for myself, and I like to not be told about medical, like thought processes and like medical procedures from the pulpit by a priest. To like, if you want to speak about God and what God, like interpretation of philosophy, theology, and everything, I'll listen to you from a pulpit. But if you want to be someone that's going out of your way and speaking on a pulpit about whether or not COVID vaccines are like good or ethical or evil or whatnot, and then saying your reasoning for saying those things is look it up, it's online, that is problematic. And then watching people in your family that are religious that watch that stuff and eat it up and consume it like Fox News, oh boy. So
Yeah, that's good. All right. So, do we want to do one more quick round, or should we wrap it up at this point?
It's up to you. You're the.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, you're the crown man.
Okay. All right. Let's do one quick round. So I'm gonna roll for me. 50. What was your most disappointing sexual experience?
okay, please tell us in
Love it,
detail.
Nate. Love it.
I mean, that's probably losing my virginity. I think that's pretty. I don't know. I feel like losing your virginity is either the best experience of your life or like one of the worst. And for me, I think it was like one of the worst. It just didn't feel like what I thought it would feel like. And I was
What were you
like anxious,
expecting?
nervous the whole time. It was miserable. Like
Could you not? Could you not stay hard?
Hell no. Didn't it stay hard the first time? I don't know.
The erectile dysfunction from nervousness is a thing, so don't
Yeah.
feel bad about that.
My first
So-
time, I was able to stay hard, but I have had experiences in my life where I was really anxious and like it was kept flip flopping.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. It was just disappointing. Like, I can't really put it any other way.
Who was more disappointed?
I don't know. I think we both had a bad time with it.
There.
Okay, so one more.
Excellent story, Justin.
Not doing that one. 21. We already asked that one. 24. How often and in what ways does fear show up in you?
Whew.
That
Is
goes
that
to Nate.
me? How often and in what ways does fear show up in you? Yeah, so for me, I get these like typically whatever it is that wakes me up. There's definitely like for some reason, just thinking I'm gonna die is like how my brain boots up. If I'm asleep and then it's booting up,
Jesus.
that's just how it boots up.
No, I get what he's saying 100%. Keep going.
And like, so for example, like if I'm asleep and there's construction like that's waking me up, it's like bam, 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 bam with like a hammer or something. I'm in a war zone. That's where I am. And then like it's like, oh, they started shooting, like, and then like the actual reality kind of percolates in slowly, and or just today it was actually particularly a vivid one, and I actually went through lots. This one was actually really trippy. Like, there was some. I thought what woke me up. My memory of it was like a plane flying like very low, or something like. And I'm sort of near Dulles Airport. I don't know why that would have happened, but the very first thing that I experienced was whatever the sound was. It wasn't just going to kill me; it was going to destroy the whole world. And I was thinking, oh shucks, there isn't life anywhere else in the universe. I guess this is all the end of everything. And then I was like, wait a second, there probably is. And I was like, oh nice. And and then I was like, okay, well, actually, maybe it's not destroying the whole world. Maybe it's just gonna destroy the building I'm in. And then I don't know. This is just how. It's just if I wake up in a surprising way, that's like the process for me. So.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
you start off in these scenarios as like you start off as I'm dying, and then you work backwards to okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
Is it predominantly in sleep? Or do you have like health anxiety during the day that like wakes up and juices you?
So this particular thing where it's like where it is like immediately like the worst possible thing. This is specifically when I'm waking up.
Okay.
So during the day, during the day, the thing that makes me the most anxious actually is just deleting literally anything on the cloud, on like AWS or which is like day in and day out, like basically what I do for work. But if I have to delete anything, because the thing about cloud computing is that like literally everything is just like a little like entry in one of these lists in one of these console pages. Like everything is one of those things. So it's like if you're deleting literally anything, like if you just blink your eyes and like go cross-eyed and then like uncross your eyes again, like just you could be looking at like the most important thing like in the whole thing, right? Am I making any sense? I don't know if I'm making
Yes.
No, you're totally making sense. Like
But,
I'm a total data hoarder. I have a 14 terabyte like backup drive that I have, and it's almost full.
Mm.
Time to start shucking, baby.
Like I deleted something the other day and I immediately regretted it. I was just like, why did I hit delete on it? Like, why didn't I just send it to the recycle bin? I just hit shift delete and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah, so just like even just deleting like an S3 bucket that's just full of like garbage logs from dev, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of thing where it's like these are garbage logs from dev, right? And then you're as you go to actually delete it, it's like, but it's the whole bucket.
Yeah.
I look at all these.
Yeah, what if I break state on something else? What if this is actually like tied to production somehow in some weird, stupid way? Like,
Right. That's exactly. And it's like there's always some crazy way that's possible. So what I do when I delete anything is as it's deleting, I shake the mouse around, and this helps because it's like whatever I deleted, it's not so bad that the power grid shut down and my mouse stopped. I don't know why that helps, but it's like
I think Twitter locked themselves out of their own API by deleting something recently. So Twitter was just down for like a day. Not like down, but like you would post a picture and it would just be a brown image.
I actually think what it is. I had this one moment working on one of the spacecraft where I typed in a command and then the terminal just went dead instantly. So like that, you don't necessarily want that to happen. And I think it's like that. I think that's the lingering anxiety. It's like, so if I can verify that just the basic computer I'm still working, the basic computer I'm using still works after this thing that I did, whatever's going on, it's not that bad. Even if it's just deleting like a bucket of like logs on S3, it's like, I didn't delete my own computer at least. Like.
All right, we got to move along. Allan,
Yes, sir.
You got number 80. Do you consider the state of unconditionally loving everyone to be desirable or undesirable for you, given it were a possibility?
If it were a possibility, I think that's like one of the ultimate goals of humanity.
Yeah, desirable for you though. Like,
desirable
would you want that for yourself if you could just unconditionally love everyone?
I feel like I'm not the me that would want that.
So it sounds like it's undesirable to you.
Yeah. I not unconditional love, no. I don't think I would want that for me. Maybe some sort of unconditional, I don't know, decency, which I try and uphold. But I don't know if I have the capacity. Like, it would be exhausting to have unconditional love for everyone. Everything would be devastating. There has to be like, there needs to be like some sort of like, you know, here's like my circle. Like I can give out a fair amount of love to that circle, but like going beyond that, and I don't know. I think once it reaches to like love of all your neighbors on the planet, I think that's just an emotional toll that I can't really pay.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair. Like, I think I agree with that. I think it would, one, be emotionally taxing on me, and two, I don't even know if it would be good for me. I feel like you need to be able to have conditions on other people.
Sure.
You do.
Yeah, like
you
if you
really
can't say
do.
like "fuck it, I'm out" at some point, that's just not good for you.
Sure. I mean, I think that's like you're asking like profit level like love for people, and I don't think we're necessarily designed for that. I think some sort of like general like human love human type thing is ideal and possibly necessary in the next couple thousand years.
Sure.
But that type of unconditional love, like I'm not Danya. Like I don't. It's not really built for that.
Okay. All right. So the last question of the evening. Chan,
Okay. What is
would
it?
you rather double the amount of emotional pain and pleasure you feel on a daily basis, or cut both in half?
So feel worse or feel not worse is what you're telling me.
No. Like double your, like increase your maxes. Like you right now, let's say you feel like you can feel a range from -10 to +10. Doubling that would be like you can feel +20 to -20, and then half of that would be like you can only feel negative
I
5.
have pretty deep hills and pretty high, or I have pretty deep valleys and pretty high hills already when it comes to pain and pleasure, to be fair. And I feel like if I cut them in half, like with the amount of shit that I've had to deal with in like the last few months and even prior to that, if I didn't have like the capacities for that, then I would be psychologically broken or I don't know, stroke out from stress. In all honesty, like so I'd probably double my capacities of like
You
for
double
tolerating
capacity?
bullshit and loving shit.
Damn. Okay.
I think
Interesting.
I think doubling's the way to go.
I think it's an interesting interpretation. So I think Chan's saying capacity, meaning like ability to handle, not as much ability to experience, which isn't exactly the same.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like I've experienced a lot of stuff, and I have a capacity for how much stuff I can take before like it's gonna overwhelm me, and I don't like. I know there is worse stuff out there, and I feel if I weren't able to actually be able to handle that worse stuff, plus the stuff on top of everything else, just the day-to-day bull, then I'd break as a person.
So it's like the idea of like the capacity being independent from the experience.
I don't think the capacity is the question necessarily. Like,
Fair.
the question is, would you rather double the amount of pain and pleasure you feel on a daily basis? So whatever you felt yesterday, like if you felt like a negative 5, that was actually a negative 10. Now,
I don't know. So, like, if I felt a negative 100 yesterday and a 5, and I doubled that to a negative 200 and a 10, yeah, no, the 10 is more worth than the negative because I know I could only get worse for some aspects, but the amount of good is actually outweighs, in my opinion, the depths of the bad in some days.
interesting.
Because
Okay.
I've had really, really dark days, and some really, really simple good has counteracted that, at least given me hope. So.
Huh.
I agree. I say double.
Yeah, no, double.
Straight double.
Interesting.
These are fun. Good job, Justin.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for the evening. Again, we've been playing ASKHole. You can find it on ASKHole.io. There's a free version that's just a PDF, and then there's like a pay version that I think is on backorder right now. But I don't know. Like, if I could buy the pay version right now, I probably would, but I would just wish it wasn't on backorder. Yeah, this has been the ALCast. I'm Justin.
That's Nate yawning.
That's Nate yawning.
I'm Allan, and
I'm a duck.
Special thank you to our guest Chan tonight.
We never explained the duck the whole time, but I'm a duck. Let's go.
Dancing duck.
Very good.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Talk to you later. Join us next time where we might do this
Bye.
again. See ya.
Bye bye.